Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to our Power Hour today on supporting the entrepreneurial journey at all ages. We are here to help build and encourage the ideas our kids have and support their pathway to success. I'm Elizabeth Clymer, Senior Manager of Education at Young Entrepreneur Institute. We have a terrific lineup for you today with some great resources to strengthen your programs and help the kids you work with at all ages. As you joined, we were listening to A Million Dreams, redone by Pink from the musical The Greatest Showman, to connect with innovative ideas, taking chances, and building towards successful endeavors. On that first slide, we asked you to share where you're from, what age level you work with. You can continue to put those answers in the chat along with any questions or feedback as we move through the hour. I see already Canton, Ohio High School students, Northern Virginia High School, Cleveland area, pre-K through 8. So already we have all of our ages, K through 12. So feel free to keep dropping those comments in that chat, as well as any other comments or questions that you have throughout this whole time. Um, First up today, we are going to hear from Leah Ellis. Leah is the founder of Society of Child Entrepreneurs, where children ages 6 through 17 build real businesses and practice leadership. She is the creator of Astra and Zeke, a story-based framework that helps educators teach entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and confidence through relatable characters and real world application. Through her curriculum and programs, Leah equips educators with practical tools that help students move from ideas to action and begin leading now, not someday. After Leah, we will hear from Kirt Manicky. Kirt is an entrepreneur and author of the award-winning book Smile, Sell More with Amazing Customer Service, the Essential 60-Minute Crash Course. His book is available on the ABA Exchange, which we will talk about later, and you can redeem up to 30 copies along with a teaching guide there. Smile is written at a sixth grade Lexile reading level for easy comprehension and presents customer service and social skills in a quick, engaging format, helping students build lifelong customer evangelists. Then Matthew Giorgio will share with us. Matthew creates game-based experiential learning programs used by thousands of instructors and millions of students around the world. Matthew is an entrepreneur, engineer, inventor, and founder of MediaSpark and GoVenture. After Matthew, we will hear from Kim Gorsuch. Kim is the founder and CEO of Weeva Inc., a social publisher focused on collecting and composing important stories. Kim is a corporate culture and personal legacy storyteller with a diverse background in various industries. She received her MBA from the Wharton School and holds a bachelor's degree in chemistry and business from Ohio Wesleyan University. So great lineup today. Just a quick reminder that we are recording this session. The recording, as well as any slides and links from the Power Hour, will be sent to you after the program. So feel free, like I said, to keep adding to the chat, continuing that conversation. And without further ado, I'm going to kick it off to Leah. Would you like to start?
Sure. Let me see if it'll let me share my screen. Share right there. I love it when it works easily and quickly and it does what it's supposed to do. No issues. So I am Leah Ellis, and this is my one thing that I say that kind of gives everybody a surprise. Children are not the future, and the sooner we stop calling them the future, the sooner we can start teaching them now. So all we're going to do today is talk about how children are amazing leaders right now. So this is my sweet little 2-year-old, and her favorite phrase in the entire world is, I do it myself. And I know that anybody who's ever worked with kids knows that once they start learning how to walk and talk, that independence goes full force. They don't wait to start being leaders. They don't wait to start taking control. They're curious, they're creative, and they are ready to go right now. And then somewhere along the way, maybe second grade, maybe third grade, maybe sooner, maybe later, they go from that, I do it to myself, to I can't do it, to, well, I'll try, to, I don't know, was this right? What changed? because I know what happens when that doesn't change. This 10-year-old walked into my office and said, I'm going to city council. We need a crosswalk. She wrote her own script. She stood on a chair so she could reach the microphone. And she had a crosswalk added to the plans for the 2027 capital improvement for her city. Not because a grown-up told her we needed a crosswalk, but because a car honked at her and she said, I can fix this problem. We don't have a leadership problem. There's a leader right there. We have a permission problem because we're not giving them the space to do it. So, how do we do that? We take away their confidence with every time we say, wait until you're older. Let me help you. No, do it like this. How many times have you walked through a kindergarten, a first grade, a third grade classroom and seen the teacher take something out of a child's hand so that they can do it the right way? So slowly, these kids are learning to hesitate. They're waiting for permission. They're waiting for the grown-ups to tell them that they're not doing it wrong. How do we give them back that confidence that they had when they were 2? And they said, no, I do it myself. Experience. At the Society of Child Entrepreneurs, we don't teach kids the idea of business. Our kids start businesses. They run them. They talk to their customers. They handle their own money. They make all the decisions. And because of that experience, they stop thinking, well, maybe I'll try. And they start knowing, I can do this. Because that experience builds confidence. One children's business fair at a time. Okay. But what if they've never seen that happen before? They've never seen a child be an entrepreneur, so they don't know where to start. So we created Sparks to Stars, and we created Astra and Zeke. Astra and Zeke are best friends. They're 10 and 12 years old, and they were running their own businesses, and they weren't quite doing as well as they wanted to be doing individually. So they teamed up together and created a business coaching company. So now all of the questions and concerns your students have about entrepreneurship, customer service, social entrepreneurship, community service, business plans, mission and vision statements, they get to learn what that's like through Astra and Zeke, teaching it to their customers. So then they start to see, oh, I'm just like Jayla. I'm just like Astra. I'm just like Zeke. This is me. This is who I am. And this is who I can be. And all of it through a simple picture book that gives them that nice connection to what they're really doing. Astra and Zeke follow the same pattern over and over and over again. See an activity in a story, try it in a classroom, and then become the leader who knows how to do those things over and over and over again. The children try writing a mission and vision statement, and then they become a business owner with a solid mission and vision statement because first they saw Astra and Zeke teach it to their customers. Every bit of it is the story to connect to their identity and the experience to give them proof so that then they start to believe and they start to prove to their communities. You don't have to be a grown-up to be an entrepreneur, to be a business owner, to be a community leader. All you need is space and the confidence to try. Oh, clicked the wrong way. Right. So one of the best classes I ever taught. This is Prototype Lab. And you will see on this table a whole bunch of random craft supplies, Easter eggs, cardboard boxes, paper plates, all the random stuff that you're like, what am I supposed to do with all of that? And so I told the kids, make something. And they couldn't. 3 kids sat there and stared at me. They had no idea what to do with that amount of freedom because they haven't been given that much freedom since they were toddlers. But eventually, after sitting in the quiet, I grabbed a couple of things and I didn't talk, but I started to model how a rubber band might fit on top of a plastic cup. And then the kids started to do the same thing. And eventually they started to build. And as I watched over the course of an hour and a half, they started building prototypes of things that they really could sell. By the end, we had a chore dice that we can market. She could sell that right now. That is a marketable item right now. The first version of a prototype for a tabletop hockey game. And the most impressive, a fully functional crossbow that shoots wooden chips made entirely from popsicle sticks and rubber bands. What if I had just been another teacher who said, okay, this is all about the end goal, guys, sit down and make me, everybody grab the same supplies and everybody make me the same thing. But instead, I had to be the educator to sit in a quiet room, let the kids be uncomfortable, and then let them feel the pride and seeing that they could do this. At the beginning of this class, I asked the kids, on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident do you feel that you can build something out of the materials on this table? I had a 10-year-old give himself a 1.5. At 10 years old, he already only has a 15% confidence, 30% confidence in himself and his ability to create something. I asked the same question at the end of the class while they're holding all these things they invented. And they all gave me a 5. They had gone from a 30% to a 100% confidence in an hour and a half because for one of the first times in their life, the grown-up was willing to back up and let them fail and let them experience. And that's what we need to be doing if we really want our kids to build their identity as entrepreneurs. And that leads me to my favorite question. Everybody with little kids knows that they're really good at why. Why? What if we started asking how? Kids can be really creative. They just need to feel safe. They don't need to feel praised. They don't need to be corrected. They don't need to be directed. They just need to be safe for an adult to stop saying, here's how to do it, and start saying, how would you do it? So my challenge for every educator, every parent that I ever talk to is ask your kids what they would like to see change, and then how are they going to do it? Really, ask them how. And just like a 4-year-old, ask it 100 times. How? How does that work? How do you get to that spot? How do you meet the needs of those customers? How do you get those prototypes to work the way you want them to? Because every time you dig to another layer of how, you're reactivating those problem-solving skills. You're encouraging them to practice, to try, and you're reinforcing that identity that they are the problem solver, not you. So I started, children are not the future. The next time a kid comes with you with an idea, don't fix it for them. Don't refine it. Don't take it over. Ask them how they would do it. Because every time we step in too quickly, we don't solve the problem. We take away the moment that they could have believed in themselves. Our children aren't waiting to lead. These 3 were testifying in front of the Kansas State House of Representatives Committee on Taxation. The one here in the end in white is the youngest child to ever testify in front of that committee. They aren't waiting to lead. They already are. They just need grown-ups to give them some space. All right, now I have time for question and answers. I wanted to make sure I
Well,
cut it so you guys
I
could
was
talk.
gonna say, so I know that when you and I talk, I mean, first of all, this is a great message, and I think a really wonderful way to frame it, and how we want to bring the entrepreneurial message to kids. And I know when you and I talked, you have lots of great material and offerings that you can share. So I just, before we need to move to our next speaker, I just want to make sure that everyone knows to go to your website, which we will definitely share in the follow-up materials. And yeah, like Eileen said, great reminders about how to empower our students. But so I want to make sure that we direct people your way so that they can check out Astra and Zeke and the amazing things that you're doing. I know one of the things that you do in person that's not an offering necessarily to our educators, but one thing that you're doing that might give them, an idea for kickstarting something. You have that this monthly circle where all your young entrepreneurs meet in person and talk about their businesses. So everyone from first through high school, are getting together and brainstorming together and sharing their experiences. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that Leah's email will be shared and her website will be shared so that you can maybe pick her brain on more things, but also look into those books and other resources that you have to offer. So
Yes, please. And then I did send one quick link. And then the other thing, I don't know if it existed yet when we talked or not, Elizabeth, but I have something called the Sochi Circle online. And I send out a weekly challenge every week with an Astra and Zeke story. So every Monday, there's something you can practice with your kiddos.
awesome. Thank you. That would be a great resource for everyone. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, I am going to pass it over to Kirt.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Leah, I want to give you like a standing ovation. That was fantastic. And I love your slides. So great job. I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kirt Manneke. Hi, Patty Owens. I didn't know you're on there. Good to see you. And everybody that I know, great to see you. Thank you for coming. I'm the author, and let me share my screen. I always goof this up like you were afraid of, Leah. So let's see if I can do this correctly. Here we go. That's actually the wrong screen. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Okay. No, that's the wrong one. Let's see. That's not it. Let me see if I can do this right. Share the screen. If I can't, I'll just won't use it, but let me see if I can try it once more. This is what we want, I think. Can everybody see that quote? Okay, thank you. Can you hear me okay? Okay, great. So this is really what we're talking about. You never get a second chance. Making that first impression is what my program is all about. And how this all started when I was in college, a gentleman, I was working at a specialty retail store, and this customer was sitting there for about 4 hours. I was the only one on the floor, and I was helping 12 customers on a busy Sunday. And he asked me if I wanted to partner and open up a specialty retail business. So I said yes. And we opened up this store that had a lot of things that teens love. So I had 25 teenagers working for me. We had windsurfers, we had wetsuits, rollerblade inline skates, Burton snowboards. Everything was really specialized, and we had no customers. So I remember sitting in this building that we rented, and I had an order for $175,000 of O'Neill wetsuits and another like $600,000 of other merchandise, thinking, I wonder if we can really do this. We don't have a single customer. So I knew I couldn't afford to lose a customer if you walked in. And I didn't ever want you to feel like you were not really welcome when you walk in. So I started a 6-week training program from all my employees before they were allowed to interact with a customer, for two reasons: to give the teenagers confidence, and to make sure that if you left, you told all your friends and you came back. And because I had such a great group of teenagers, that's exactly what happened. I was on the sales floor all the time. And you would see, for instance, a mom come in, and maybe she'd buy a pair of rollerblades or a bathing suit or something. Then she'd bring her neighbors back, and then they'd bring their neighbors back. So it grew exponentially, and it was because of great customer service. And this is what my program really is about. Let me go to that slide, if I can hit the right slide. And this is so true. It takes so long to find a customer, and you build a business one customer at a time. We couldn't afford to have somebody say something wrong to somebody, or not greet you properly, or not answer the phone properly. How many of you have had a bad customer service experience over the last month? Either calling a business, or you walk in, you're ignored, or you walk in, I bet, and somebody's with a customer and you're totally ignored until they're done with that customer 45 minutes later. So what I did, I put together years later a book based on my training program that wouldn't take 6 weeks, that would take 60 seconds or less. And it contains all the little things that would normally turn somebody off, but it corrects them and gives the student what they can say. For instance, when you say thank you to an employee, you want them to say you're welcome. How many of you don't want them to say, yep, no problem? And when you go in a business, maybe you're in a hospital and you can't find the room, do you really want somebody to point, or do you want somebody to walk you over to the right hospital room? And I'll give you an example of this. There's a store near me called Colasante's. It's a high-end market, and they use my book for training. A lot of teenagers, a lot of students like you are teaching. And I walked in there one day to buy some things, and I was at the the checkout, and I asked the cashier, I said, I've got kind of a stomach ache. Do you have like any Coke or Pepsi? And I was kind of surprised because she said, yes, follow me. I'll walk you over to it. So she walked me over. She said, would you like Coke or Pepsi? I said, Coke. Went back. I pulled out my wallet and she saw my business card and she said, did you write that book? I said, yes. She goes, we use that book for training. And I wish my manager would buy more, because the first customer I waited on, and she was like 16 or 18, I don't know. She said, the first customer I waited on after reading your book called my manager to tell me what a nice job I did. So that's what we're talking about, is teaching entrepreneurs and students, give them the confidence so they know what to say, because chances are, if they don't start their own business, if they go work for somebody, they are not going to get trained in any of this. They are going to get thrown on the sales floor or thrown out, go sell, with none of this face-to-face communication training. I was fortunate that this book won the Teacher's Choice Award, the Mom's Choice Award, but it's really about helping your students and how you can use this when you get it on the Yippee Exchange. And Elizabeth mentioned that it's a 6th grade reading level. You can order up to 30 copies, but you also get a teaching guide PDF. And the teaching guide is full of role-playing exercises, the customer service scenarios. For instance, I'll give you one of the scenarios. A customer walks into your business and you are alone on the sales floor already helping another customer. What do you do? Your business is called Cotter's Coffee. You receive a phone call. What do you do? So how to answer that phone properly. It's not, I used to train my employees, and that was before caller ID. So I used to call this one motorcycle shop and they'd answer their phone, Magic Motorcycles. And I'd ask my employees, would you shop there? How would that make you feel? And none of them would go there. So we taught them to answer it, good morning, Magic Motorcycles. This is Tom. How may I help you? So it's all the little things that are actually, as Tom Peters, the author of In Search of Excellence, always says, in business, the little things are the big things. So these are all the little things, the face-to-face communication, somebody walking in and somebody saying, hi, Elizabeth, nice to see you again. Thank you so much for coming in. Hopefully have a great trip. We'll see you next time you come in. Treating somebody like a guest in your home and following the golden rule. The one advantage of this book is it's quick and easy to read. I tested it over and over again when I wrote the manuscript, and it's really simple. It's only 90 pages. It's very short, quick. I worked on it for a year and a half with my editor. We kept rewriting it, and I told her at 6 months, I said, aren't we done yet? And she said, Kirt, you wanted a pithy book. We have to get rid of every wasted word. So we kept testing it until teens would say, oh, I can read this. So it's really good if you are teaching business entrepreneurship education. The teaching guide is very helpful. You don't have to be an expert in this subject. You could do one customer service technique a week or a day if you wanted. And it's got activities like go to the farm market, be a mystery shopper, find out things they're doing well, find out things that they can improve upon. So it's really an easy program. I've sold quite a bit to wonderful, and I see some of you that have purchased my product on this to a lot of the Yippee Exchange customers. And I've had it for, I've printed out some of the reviews, enjoyed it, grades 10 to 11. I've got another one, grade 5, from Jennifer Mulligan, Old Wire Elementary School. My 5th graders were using this. It was great. So it's really simple. It's common sense. Unfortunately, with phones and everything, a lot of students are not learning these basic face-to-face communication skills. I think, you could use it self-study. Students can that's how I designed it. So students can just read the book and then immediately implement what they learned. So they can read about how to greet a customer and immediately that same day smile, say hi, look that customer in the eye, and greet them and welcome them. So that's how easy it is to use. I'm trying to think what else I should tell you. The main thing is just if they're going to go into business, they're going to have to learn these skills. If I didn't have this program for my business, we would have been out of business in 3 months. And we became an award-winning retailer. We were the leading dealer for Oakley sunglasses, Thule car racks, but it was because I had great young people who listened and they knew how to help guide that customer into the right product. And they also knew if we didn't have it, they were taught that you never sell something that's not right for that customer. You find out and you go send them somewhere else where they'll be satisfied. You look up the address, you look up the phone number, you do everything and treat that customer like a guest in your home. And that's a quote from a local car dealer that uses my book in his training. And it's just treating people like they'd want to be treated. So that's kind of an overview of it. I'm thinking if I forgot to tell you anything. It's really easy to use, and it just makes sure that when your students go work somewhere, the employer is delighted and their customers are delighted because most of these things they probably have not encountered as far as body language, what to say if there's a problem. If somebody asks a question, you don't say, I don't know. You say, excuse me, please let me go find out and I'll be right back. So everything that if you went into business, you would be a customer evangelist for life. And that's what happened to our business. We had people come back all the time. We had two other businesses across the street, but they went out of business just because they didn't have good service. So I'd love to have you use it for entrepreneurship education, business, career and technical education. A lot of special educators use it. And it's just easy. If you have questions, my website's there. And feel free to reach out to me also. Thank you, everybody. I'll
Thank you,
stop sharing.
Kurt. That was great.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
this
welcome.
is, I mean, I feel like this is something for everyone, right? Like this helps everyone, and it's great. It's a great way to teach kids and make it, accessible to them, and comprehensive, like you said. So thank you so much. I hope
You're welcome.
everyone checks it out.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Um, I will pass the baton on to Matthew. You'd like to go next?
Trying to find the audio button there, the microphone button. Hello, everyone. You guys can see my screen okay? Wonderful. Thank you, Elizabeth. And thanks, everyone, for being here today. Let me start by saying how much I love Yippee. I always want to talk about this. I've been in entrepreneurship education for 25 years, worked with thousands of instructors around the world. And Yippee is the best nonprofit initiative that I've ever seen. Let me explain why. Number one is they curate resources. So they do all that hard work of finding the best resources for you. And then they make them available for you as teachers to choose the ones that best fit your needs. You don't have to, get something top down that someone else tells you have to use. You can just pick whatever is best for you. You don't have to worry about, putting in application forms and waiting for 3 months for a no or begging for money. Find what you want, what's best for you and your students, and Yippee will give it to you. Like, what's better than that, right? It's having your cake and eat it too. So I love Yippee. And I love the theme that's kind of threaded through what Leah was talking about, what Kirt was talking about. And it really comes down to experience. We're all talking about experience and confidence. I like to say that, to really learn about entrepreneurship, you have to practice it. And I'm a big believer in the entrepreneurial mindset. Whether you start a business or not, all the skills we've been talking about, the three of us so far, are life skills that'll help you in anything that you do in life. And that's a big part of the entrepreneurial mindset. And what I like to say about practice is that practice builds confidence, confidence builds skills, and skills pay the bills at the end of the day. So that's what I'm going to focus on here. I'm going to show you some of the resources that we have available on Yippee. And our products are called GoVenture. And you're going to find everything I'm going to show you here is available right now on Yippee. So my company is MediaSpark, but the products that we create are called GoVenture, and they're all about experiential learning. And GoVenture has been around for 25 years and used by thousands of instructors, millions of students in every kind of corner that you can think of, from elementary, middle schools, high schools, universities, colleges, MBA programs. We're using in prisons. We're using nonprofits, Fortune 500 companies. You name it, GoVenture has been used in that capacity, and it's available to you. And it's all about experiential learning. In fact, we have our own methodology that we describe as experiential, social, and gamified learning. So by experiential, we mean learning by doing through games, simulations, role playing, virtual or live role playing experiences. By social, we mean students learning together, sometimes collaboratively, sometimes competitively, maybe in a peer-to-peer or mentoring type relationships. And by gamified, we mean the application of game mechanics to make learning more fun and engaging. And I'm not talking about badges and superficial things like that and leaderboards. I'm talking about real life experiential learning. And so we apply this methodology of experiential, social, and gamified learning to everything that we create. Most of what we're known for is very advanced software simulations. And I'll show you a bit of that here. But we also develop tabletop games like board games and card games and so on. So, if you don't want something that's technology based, you can do an experiential learning activity through a tabletop type experience. So on Yippee, you're going to find two types of products, GoVenture products. You're going to find the board games, the card games, which are collectively called tabletop games. And then you're going to find our software simulations. These are the hyper realistic experiential learning opportunities that run inside your browser on your computer or your tablet or your Chromebook device. So let me tell you a little bit about the board games first. So everything that we do is designed for specifically education. So these are not entertainment style games that have been repurposed for education. They're designed from the idea phase right to full production to be learning experiences. And so one of the things we offer on Yippee is what's called our board game bundle 5. It's number 5 because you get 5 games. So you get one of each of our tabletop games. It's 299 points. And so you get a food truck entrepreneur board game. So students actually run mini food trucks and they navigate around a city experience and they compete for customers making hot dogs or tacos and so on. And we also have optional printable activities where they can do accounting and practice their accounting while running the food truck. But of course, most people don't like accounting, so you don't have to do that. That's just a nice option if you want to do it. But the food truck entrepreneur board game is a really great way to experience entrepreneurship. We also have a lemonade stand board game. So if it's a rainy day outside or cold and you want to give students that lemonade stand experience or teach them basic math skills and so on, we have this lemonade stand board game. And it's really unique because it's kind of a tactile game. You actually kind of build your stand and then you play with it. And then we have a personal finance card game that's a little bit better for a little bit older students, more middle school, high school. And it's a nice, simple, easy pick up and play game. We have an entrepreneurship card game and it has two themes. It has an entrepreneurship theme where you have stores and products. And then we have a monster theme where you're actually capturing monsters and returning them in for bounties and so on. So two different themes in one game. We also have a game maker kit. So designing games is something that most kids tend to find very interesting. And it's also a really great STEM or STEAM type activity. So we have a very premium game maker kit that comes full of components, every type of component you'd ever think of. We have multiple boards. We have ways for your students to design their own boards. We have a game design worksheet. It's also available for free. You can download this worksheet at any time. And it steps students step by step to designing their own tabletop game. And you can have multiple students designing their own games at the same time. So it's a really great game design kit. And this is all available in one bundle. We call it the Board Game Bundle 5 on Yippee. Now, we also have this option where typically what most instructors do is they'll buy the bundle, get one of each game, try them out, and then they might identify one or two games that fit perfect for what they're trying to do. And so then you can buy a bundle of 3 games of any one of those that you want. And that's 180 points. So you can choose any of the 5 games and get 3 of them. And you can buy multiple bundles if you want even more. It all comes down to as many points as you want to use to get the game. So you can get the 5 game bundle or then 3 of any particular game that you choose. Then we have this other new game. This is actually a PDF. It's a worksheet. And what we were finding is early on, we didn't have this lemonade stand game. Most of our games tended to be for middle school, high school, and adults. And we found that a lot of elementary school teachers were buying our games, particularly through Yippee, and they were enjoying them, even though we didn't really design them for that level, that age of students. So we said, well, if they're enjoying those games, let's create another game that's specifically targeted at younger students. And that's where we designed this new Lemonade Stand game, which is now part of the bundle. And we have a PDF book, which is a print and play game. So what you do is you print sheets, and then students actually color in their stands, and then they cut and fold them. So it's an actual creative activity where they're building the board game themselves out of regular paper or cardstock, and then they put the game together and they play it. And they actually sell lemonade in this board game experience. So it's both a creative experience and a kind of a math entrepreneurship type experience for younger kids. And that's available separately as 50. And I'll also give you a tip that if you get the bundle, you actually also get it as well through an online resource that we provide for a few months. But you can buy it just separately on its own if you prefer, and that's 50 points. All right, so let's talk about simulation games. So those are all tabletop. Those are physical games, print games that you get shipped in the mail. And once you get them, you can use them, as often as you want, forever. And then we have our simulation games, and we have 4 simulation games. Our super popular one for entrepreneurship, it's called Entrepreneur, GoVenture Entrepreneur. It is a hyper-realistic simulation of business. In fact, here's an example of what it looks like. And what we do is we put students in the role of running a business. They start with a simple lemonade stand, and they can play that for a certain period of time. And then they can level up to a kiosk business where they sell hot dogs or jewelry or popcorn, clothing, and so on. And then they level up to a full business. Now, the full business is the most realistic small business simulation that's ever been invented. I can confidently say that because I've been doing this for so long. And we've modeled 20 different businesses, similar to like McDonald's or Chipotle or Starbucks or Pizza Hut. We have barbershops and hair salons and fitness gyms, automotive repair shops, a micro stay hotel. And your students can choose from any of those businesses or all of them and run them all in this hyper-realistic simulation. Because the program has multiple levels from the lemonade stand to the kiosk and full business, it can work with almost any grade of students. Because if you have younger students who are not ready for that comprehensive experience, that's okay. You can stay with the lemonade stand and spend more of your time there. But if you have students who are a little bit older and more capable, you can progress them through the entire experience. So you as the instructor have full control of the experience. The assessment is all fully automated. And it's behavior-based assessment, performance-based assessment. So it's not a bunch of multiple choice quizzes. It's actually assessing their decision-making in their business and measuring it on multiple metrics, holistic measurement, not just profit, but things like customer satisfaction and customer service, which Kirt knows all about. So it's measuring all of those metrics to help students run better businesses and gain those skills in doing so. So that's our entrepreneur simulation. We have a digital marketing simulation where students invent a product and then they build a marketing funnel and actually sell that virtual product within this digital marketing funnel. Digital marketing obviously is a very hot topic, but it's very complicated to teach. We make it really easy because they don't have to have accounts anywhere else. They can do everything directly within the simulation. We have a project management simulation. Entrepreneurship is all about managing projects. I like to call ourselves, we're professional problem solvers, professional project managers at the end of the day. And that's really what we're doing. And we have a simulation that allows you to actually manage a project virtually. Everything is self-contained and makes it really easy for instructors to implement. And then we also have a leadership simulation as well. So if you want students to practice collaborative, team-based decision-making, they can do that in our leadership simulation. And essentially, you'll get a certain number of student accounts, and you can reassign those student accounts. So you can play them over a 1-year subscription. So the 285 points you see here for Entrepreneur gives you access to the Entrepreneur simulation and all the supplemental curriculum resources that are available. And you can use it for the entire year, and you can reassign those 15 accounts to different students at different times, and so on. So let me see where we're at. I'm going to go back over here just to summarize. So you can get board games and card games or tabletop games. You can get simulation games. And it all comes down to experiential learning by doing, through virtual role playing, live role playing experiences. So that's me. This is how you can reach me. These are some links to our resources. And if you find us on Yippee, just look for GoVenture, all one word. And I'm going to stop there and see if anybody has any questions, although I've lost the chat window here. Not sure why that is.
No,
Oh,
this
I've
is
got a little
amazing.
message over time.
You have a lot of support here. I don't see any
Oh,
questions right
I
now, but I'm sure people could do that. But a lot of support for your ideas and so many options. That was such an array of experiences and opportunities. So thank you so much for sharing all of these. It was terrific.
thank you.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah, and thank you for putting your link there to, and we will send out. I'll repeat that numerous times, but we will send out all of these resources, materials, slides, everything, so that everyone can get their hands on all these amazing resources. And there's still more to come. So we have Kim Gorsuch from Weeva is going to talk about the Miantiago. So yes, please take it over, Kim.
Hello, everybody. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Weeva. And what I want to talk about today is our newest series, which is called Mia and Tiago and the Six Secrets of Successful Startups. We have set out to teach kids 5 to 10 how to think like expert entrepreneurs. And Mia and Tiago is a little bit different in that it's based on the principles of effectuation. This is based on a lot of research done at the Darden School of Business by Professor Sarah Saraswathy. And she has studied successful entrepreneurs like Richard Branson and Doug Lebda at LendingTree and many others for decades. And what she has pulled out are the 6 things that really set those entrepreneurs apart and help them build viable businesses. And what we did is we took her MBA course and we adapted it for elementary school. And so the program is extremely flexible. Generally, people could teach it in 6 days, or they could teach it over a period of 6 weeks. And it consists of 6 picture books. So we teach 1 secret at a time, an educator's guide, and then a robust activity book that the kids use to apply the lessons instantly. Based on what teachers are telling us, the students are building basically these 6 things. Literacy, because the stories are written, are very engaging, they're super fun, but they do not talk down to kids. And the kids instantly recognize the situation and they relate to the characters like really easily. So what we're after here is intriguing them to read. In the workbooks, they write a lot, and I'm going to show you a page from a workbook later. And then we also invite them to practice their critical thinking skills. Every book has a flow to it. So the idea is the teacher reads the book, runs either an activity or discussion, and then the kids work through the workbook, and then they come back and present their ideas to their peers and also to other adults. Social emotional learning is built into it. You all know that entrepreneurship has a lot of shifts in it, and not everything works out the way you thought it would. And so we're showing kids how perseverance and adaptability to issues and challenges can work to their advantage. And we tag the SEL activities in the educator guide so you, the teacher, can point them out really easily. Financial literacy, especially in the book called Affordable Loss. And we define financial literacy as thinking about your resources holistically. So yes, it's money, but it's also your time, your willpower, your relationships, and the resources that you have readily available to you. And what we do is we help students kind of think through holistically, like, where does entrepreneurship fit in my life? Career readiness, we're teaching like many of the other programs here, leadership, teamwork, problem solving, and importantly, initiative. And what I know from my own kids is too many kids think that success is instant, right? I try it once, I should be an expert. And when they're not, they have a hard time with that. And so Mia and Tiago really doubles down on this idea of you try things, doesn't work, you try something else. And that teaches a kind of resilience that is really important, not just if you're going to be an entrepreneur, but basically in life, period. And then family engagement, a lot of what our teachers like about Mia and Tiago is that families like it too. So the kids can go home and they can talk to their caregivers about what they're learning. And then, of course, once you go through all 6 lessons, you can have a presentation or a pitch contest where the kids talk about their ideas to their family and friends. So it fits very nicely into family engagement for schools. This is a little bit about what it looks like. So the main story arc that runs through all 6 books is Mia and Tiago want to win the Moonshots contest. And the prize is this trip to outer space. And they really want to win this. But in order to win, they have to come up with a startup idea, and they have no idea where to begin. So Edison Eagle shows up in every book, and he teaches them one secret at a time. And then after learning that secret, the kids immediately apply it. So book 1 is called Bird in Hand. And it's all about what do you have readily available at your fingertips? What do you know? Who do you know? What resources do you have? And how can you turn that into a viable idea? The kids come up with the idea of a skate park. Well, turns out nobody wants to let them build a skate park because nobody wants the liability. And in any case, they don't really have a place to put it. So now they hit their first obstacle, and it's like, now what do? So book 2 in Lemonade, it's all about adapting to challenges. And this is from the educator guide. It gives you the kind of the key points from book 2 in this very quick overview. So the kids learn not every idea is going to work. Obstacles are all different sizes. Some are really easy and some you just can't get past. And so what do you do then? But sometimes those obstacles open up opportunities that you just didn't know existed. This is an excerpt from Affordable Loss, and I'm showing it to you because I don't want you to think it's a comic book, because it's not. It's actually a storybook, and it has a really nice story arc, also an emotional arc. And then, like I said, there are these founder stories that are super engaging for kids. So, for example, book 1, Kalika Wear, is a company in Ghana that makes shoes and backpacks out of trash. And kids are like amazed, like, can you make things out of trash? Things that nobody else wants? Well, what can you do with that? The Virgin Atlantic one is from Affordable Loss. And I don't know if you know, but Richard Branson's very first business was a Christmas tree business. And he put all his money into planting these Christmas trees, and every single one was eaten up by a rabbit. So in Affordable Loss, we ask kids, like, how do you feel when you put everything you've got into your business and it doesn't work and you have nothing left? Now what? And so I think these cases are meant to be very relatable. So the kids go, oh, okay, I see that. I see how it works, and I understand the lesson that's coming out of it. This is a peek inside the educator's guide, which is about 60 pages long. And that might sound long, but it's very visual. So we are, for every book, we're providing a lesson plan. Here's what we expect kids to learn and what they should understand and what they should be able to do. And then on the right-hand side, you're seeing the materials that you need, which we provide in the educator's bundle that we send to you. And then we invite you to follow 4 simple steps, right? Read the book, explore the principle, have the students work through their workbook, and then invite kids to share, and then move on to book two. This, we always provide two options for helping kids understand the material. One is a simple discussion. So we provide a selection of prompts, which you can pick and choose the ones that work for your students. And then, not shown here, we also provide activities, which are fun for the students to do together. And then step 3 is go work through your workbook. And then in step 4, they come back and recap and present to each other. So they're practicing communication. And then we highlight for you what the social emotional learning takeaways are for each of the secrets. This is a peek inside their workbook. And their workbook, and I have one here, is it's an 8.5 by 11. It is very nice paper because we want to invite, especially your tactile kids, to want to write and to want to develop their ideas. So there's a chapter in the workbook that matches each of the books, and the kids work through their ideas, and then by the end, they could have their own business that they could launch. And then that's really where it picks up with some of the ideas that Kirk and Matthew and Leah have talked about. Because we're providing a framework that helps them figure out what the key secrets are. But then of course they need other things. They need the marketing, they need the customer service, and so on. We also have, it's been on Yippee, I guess. We launched it in the fall, but we released a couple of the books early. And so we do have some early adopters. Thank you very much. And this is what they have to say about it. It's a very engaging program. Kids really like it, and it's really easy for the teacher to use. Since launching in the fall, I am thrilled to say that we've got over 100 educators who are using the program. We've touched over 2,000 kids, and we're in 22 states already. Actually, that's probably an undercount because we have a couple of new orders that have come in recently. And we're just thrilled because the best part is the kids like it and the teachers like it. So on Yippee right now, we have 2 products for Mia and Tiago. One is the complete educator bundle, which is the 6 picture books, plus the educator guide, plus up to 30 activity books for the kids. And then we also have a workbook bundle, which is a refill pack. And if you would like more information, we have, of course, a website with a link there. And then we also have a series of videos that I think help make the program come alive. The other thing I'd like to point out is it's available in Spanish and English. So, and a lot of times, because we do work with a lot of schools in Texas, which need that bilingual, but also, other schools that are close to the border, or other schools that are teaching Spanish immersion, or even just like a normal Spanish class that's looking for a different way of teaching Spanish. These books can support that. And at this point in the school year, we are finding that people are using it as a way to close out the year, like a fun and engaging way to use as you cruise towards the end of the year. Also summer camps, and then very popular are the after-school programs. And I think with that, I would love questions.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't, same thing. I don't see anything. I think that we have given such an abundance of resources and ideas. People need a little bit of time to process all this. So thank you so much for sharing this. I know as people kind of look through all these resources, and I'm sure that they are going to get them and contact all of you and make sure that that they know how to use all of them with their program. So thank you so much. I don't even know how to say how grateful I am to all 4 of you. This just came together so beautifully. Those were the words of Eileen, but I agree so wholeheartedly. You just piggybacked off of each other so well, and I really just loved the content of today's Power Hour. Thank you all so, so much. I just have a couple quick announcements. Um, so I am going to do that really quickly. Oh, before I do announcements, just so everyone knows, today for today's session, you can get 200 Yippee points just for attending today's Power Hour. And if you are not familiar with Yippee, please stick around and ask questions, and we will get you all set up so that you can get so many of these resources. If you don't know about that, that is an online platform that's run by Burton D. Morgan Foundation, and we can talk all about that if you're not familiar. So I am going to put the code for those points in the chat in just a moment, along with the survey link. Please go on and make sure that you give us your feedback in within the survey. So here is the survey link and the code. And then our announcements are that our next Power Hour is May 12th. That is a Tuesday. So Tuesday, May 12th, save the date. You'll get more information about that soon. Some of you were able to attend our special Power Hour on the Complete Pitch Toolkit a couple of weeks ago. Whether you were able to attend or not, make sure you look for the download link that's coming soon. And if you'd like guidance on how to navigate those new materials, please reach out to us and or check out the recording of that session. And not last but not least, our national summer, definitely not least, big news. National Summer and Out of School Pitch Challenge is open for registration. So I have a note that either Marissa or Eileen might talk a little bit more about that very quickly.
Hi,
Eileen, do
I'm
you want to say
happy to
anything?
do that.
Great.
I was trying to share the link in the chat and I made a little mistake. So give me 1 second on that. So for those of you who run summer programs, summer camps, or summer out of school time programs, or if you're just someone who would like to share a really great fun activity with the young people in your life, we run a summer pitch challenge. Let me see if I can get this link into the chat. And I was going to share the page from our website. So this is under the Pitch Challenge program. There's the National Summer and Out of School Time Pitch Contest. We have an educator registration. That's if you want more information as the educator. Student registration, we're not open for entries yet. The pitch submission deadline is midsummer, end of July. Winners announced at the end of August. And prizes are similar to what we've done in the past, up to $250 per grand prize winning teams. Of course, you'll see more about that in our newsletters and other email communications. And for all those who are waiting to hear about Mott Million, we also have fingers crossed, pins and needles, waiting to see what comes next to all our wonderful students. Okay, Leah says emails went out yesterday.
My daughter made it to the top 1,500, but not the top 60. We got that email yesterday.
Okay. So she got 250 for her round one. Okay. Well, we're waiting to hear with all of you.
Great,
Elizabeth,
thank
back
you.
to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the information. If anyone has any questions, and our speakers could stick around, maybe they can answer some of those. And if anyone wants to hear more about Yippee and how to get signed up for that, you will all get information about that in the follow-up email, though. So if you can't stick around, don't worry. And we will send those out by the end of the week. So look for all of this information very soon. Thank you all for being here. This was a great Power Hour. Thank you all.